Shall we start? Yes, everyone ready? Very nice. So, hello ladies and some gentlemen, from what I can see. We would like to welcome you to TESOL's 36th Annual International Convention, and thank you for attending our seminar this morning. We gathered here today for one reason. We are all practitioners. We are all educators with a vision, and we are willing and determined to successfully convey knowledge to all our students. So today's seminar aims at familiarizing you with basic dyslexia-friendly guidelines and techniques that should be used in order to develop your students' literacy skills. That's what we focus on today. Now, it should be also noted here that the techniques that will be suggested are put to best use with novice learners, so beginners or elementary students, regardless of age. Our motto is the sooner, the better. So the reason why we focus on literacy skills is to emphasize that the key in mastering the English language is to teach students how to spell, how to read without any difficulties. This way, with some differentiated teaching, they are even able to follow a class like their peers, and very importantly, it will help them enhance their low self-esteem. Now, we would also like to point out that all the guidelines that will be suggested today are suitable not only for dyslexic students, but weaker students with no learning differences will also benefit from them. And I think that this is very handy if you consider that we all teach mixed ability classes. Now, as you have probably realized, dyslexic learners experience great problems in learning English due to the English language's deep phonological orthographic system. Think of the chaotic system in simple words with 3 or even 4 letters. Basically, the difficulty lies in processing and remembering the sounds of the phonemes. So why is this happening? Well, you see, in order to learn a new word, and here you can look at the board, what happens? First, we have the letters, and students have to map this letter with the voice of the letter. Then they have to put these letters together to form the word. And then another word comes. And again, they have to read this letter as well and keep it in mind, and then string it with the other word that will appear and form a sentence. This might be easy for a normal brain, but a dyslexic learner's brain has difficulty into doing this. It's stressful. It's very stressful to everyone. So, due to their poor working memory, which is something characteristic in dyslexic learners, things get even worse. So, as a result,
students cannot read. They find it difficult to decode textbooks they read, the notes you write on the board. They start hating the language. They daydream during the lesson, and they spend ages trying to understand what you're trying to say to them. They tend to have low self-esteem. They feel different from their peers. They work a lot harder than them, and the outcome is nowhere close to theirs. This makes them feel really frustrated, annoying, and it's really unfair for them. So, what do we do? How do we start? How do we continue? It is answers to such questions that will help us gain some insight into how dyslexic learners can be taught. So the first frequently asked question among teachers is, identify a dyslexic student concerning their literacy skills. What characteristics should I look out for? Of course, our job is not to diagnose or assess our students. However, teachers must be aware of some very common characteristics that dyslexic learners share regarding their literacy skills. And of course, keep in mind that not all dyslexics experience the same difficulties. So they tend to have a difficulty in mapping grapheme to phoneme, understanding the letters represent sounds and vice versa. They have a poor realization of punctuation or upper, lower case letters. You may observe that letter reversals, transpositions, omissions. They find it hard to articulate or repeat multisyllable words, reread or omit lines, and they replace words with others that look alike or start with the same letter patterns. So moving on to the next question, how do I cope with it? Can it be cured? Well, I'm afraid the answer is no. Dyslexia cannot be cured. But the difficulties that dyslexic students face, though, can be compensated for and success can be reached. We should not lower the requirements, but teach dyslexic students the way they learn best and devise conditions for them to demonstrate their knowledge and full potential. It is us who should try to adjust our methods according to their needs and not expect them to change the way the brain works. The tools we should not fail to carry with us every time we go to a lesson are persistence, repetition, imagination, creativity, and flexibility.
Now, the next question is, where do I start? What's the first step, right, I should take? So first of all, we have to teach our students the importance of phonemic awareness. We're seeking for more practical answers. So what is phonemic awareness? What is a phoneme, first of all? I think you all know what a phoneme is. What is a phoneme? Somebody? Nobody? It's the sound. It's the smallest unit, right, of sound that distinguishes one word from the other, right? That's why the word Pam or Pat are different, because the last sound is different. And of course the grapheme is the written form. Yes, exactly, the written form, all right. And it could be one letter or it could be a cluster of letters, all right, that have one sound. Now, there are three ways to teach phonemic awareness and have your students practice it. First of all, we have the partial phoneme segmentation, which means, or syllable splitting, which means that they have the word and you have to see if they can identify the first, the initial, or the last sound of the word. Like the word cat is either k and at or ka, t. This might seem very simple to us, but it's not simple for a dyslexic learner. Then we move on to the full phoneme segmentation. This is something like the word 8. How many graphemes has it got? It's got 5. But how many voices, how many phonemes? Only 3. All right? 8. After students have been trained to do these first steps, they move on to phoneme manipulation. Here you ask them to use the phonemes of a word. For example, you can ask them to reverse the sounds. The word map becomes Pam. You might even ask them to say a word and omit the first sound, like say the word seat, but take the first sound out. How do they do that? They have to think that it's the word eat. All right? They have to say the word silent, the first phoneme silently, eat, and then they produce the word. And an even more difficult activity is to ask them to produce spooneries. For example, you have the word Jack Sparrow, and you ask them to change the first phonemes. So they have to come with, if they change J and Sp, Spack, Spack, Jarrow. Yes. Now, you have to keep in mind that these are oral activities. Students should be able to do this without picturing the letters, okay, bringing the letters into mind. They have to be trained to listen to the sounds. Now, let's move on to this. The grapheme-phoneme relations of the English language, we know that are especially difficult. We said due to its deep phonological orthographic system. And we will try to show you today the problematic combinations of letters which make dyslexic learners feel so frustrated. And we believe that once you see what we mean, you will understand why this is so stressful for a dyslexic learner. As you may know, there are approximately 44 sounds, right, of the English language, of course with some variations depending on the accent, on the articulation. And these 44 sounds are represented by how many letters? 26. Okay. So 44 sounds, 26 letters. Something's not right. Okay. Now, we have to teach them this this relationship between the sound and the letter, and this is a very nice chart that will make us feel a bit dizzy, I think. Oh, why don't you have it? Just a second. We'll do it right now. Let's try. Aha! Here it is. And this is also in your handout. We have the reference. Okay, you have it at the back page. Here, you can have a look of the consonants. For example, you have the word fan. The sound f. Fan, one F. Easy. Cliff. All right, double F. Ha. Phone. Ooh, PH. Why is this happening? Which words have PH in English? The Greek ones, yes, okay. You teach Greek students. You should take advantage of that, all right? All Greek words, the first sound is turned into PH. Photograph, all right, phone. The same happens with CH. Think of words that the CH is ku. Sorry? Character. Other words. Yes, architect, school, even the word school. When you teach your students the word school and they say, but CH is chu. Why isn't it stu? Teach them that it's from the Greek word scholio, all right? Then laugh comes. GH. Cough. The silent L. And often, that's a T. You don't listen to the T? Yes. So these are only the consonants. There's more. Ooh la la. Consonants, more consonants. Diagraphs. Short vowels. Long vowels. The R-controlled vowels. Tricky graphemes. Is this enough? It's not enough. Of course it's not enough. In order to familiarize yourselves and your students and boost both of your confidences, we also have, this tool, which is great. You also have it in the handout. And brings you to this. This is standardized accent, and you and your students can click on the word, on the phonetic transcription.
E.
Listen to the sound and then have examples.
Seat. It. Grin.
All right, which is
Foot.
very useful for students to have it and be able to have a look at it at home. Additionally, we have the silent letters here. For example, right, no, climb, climbing, guide, and we have the magic E. What happens with the magic E? It turns the previous vowel into a long one. For example, this is can, but now it is cane. This is dim, but now it's dime. This is pin, but now it's a pine, and the top and the tube. So you have to teach them that this magic E changes, right, has the power to change the vowel that precedes the consonant. We also have soft and hard sounds. Why is this center, city and cycle, and this is cat and cooperate? Because the C before E, I and Y has its soft sound, and before the A and O has its hard sound. The same happens with G, for example, in giraffe or Germany, all right? But G and O is goat. Of course, there are always exceptions in these rules. All right, yes. And then we have two vowels going together. What happens in most cases? What do we read? Which vowel do you read? The first one, yes. Here you teach them that they read E or I or O, boat, goat. Again, A and U. And we have a nice video to show you, and there are many more available on YouTube. I do the talking.
Vowel team TV.
When vowel teams go a-walkin', the first vowel does the talkin'. A.
Made.
When vowel teams go a-walkin', the first vowel does the talkin'. E.
Team.
All right, I think you get the picture. This is something that you could have your students actually
Vowel
perform
team
in class. For
TV.
example, who's the one who's talking? All right, I'm the one who's talking, and then the other one is not, having his mouth
Taking the
closed.
alphabet name and not the sound.
Yes, and teach them that it's the long vowel, it's the name they have in the alphabet. All right, it's not A, it's A. It's not E, it's E. It's not E, it's I. All right, it's the sound, it's their name of the alphabet. And last but not least, we have all these wonderful combinations of letters which are there to make our lives much easier, and our students know. You have the OUT, OU and GHT, or AUGHT, where you have to teach the students that it's the root. The verb catch or the verb teach have A inside, so caught and taught also have A inside. You have the silent L's in ok, walk, or could, the chair, Asian, the OA, the OI, AA, which is different. For example, it's oil, all right? It's different than the previous. And there, O and Y, A and Y at the end, boy or tray. The OW, it's O or ow. IGHT, DGH, TGH, TCH, so many difficulties. Are they enough? Are they enough? Yep. No, of course they're not enough. This brings us to Anastasia.
Okay, so here are the troublesome characteristics. So here we have one sound. Which sound is this? The oo sound. And we can have spoon, food. So two letters represent one sound. Again here, what sound is this? E. One sound, but two letters represent the sound. For example, eat and meat. The I sound, one sound, but three letters represent the sound, as in high and night. Here we have one sound, J. However, we have three different ways of writing it. For example, J like in Germany, G in giraffe, jelly, jet. So one sound can be written in more than one ways using a combination of letters. Here we have two different sounds, but they share the same spelling. So we have the, like this and that, th, like 3 teeth. And of course, there are so many exceptions and irregular words and sight words. For example, whole, that has the magic, there's the magic E rule we mentioned earlier, but some, it should be shown, but it's some. Three different ways of writing the same word, the same, well, we pronounce it the same, but we have 3 different ways of writing it. What do these 3 words share? Which spelling do they share? Yes, but there are 3 different ways of, we pronounce them differently, like not, student, further. Where and here, about and group, again we have the ow sound, about, oo, group.
Okay. Nice so far. Okay, enough the theory and moving on to the theoretical, to the practical part. What are the techniques? First of all, our instruction has to be direct. It has to be explicit. It has to be structured. You cannot have organized students if you are not organized. You cannot do things and then go from one thing to the other and 2 weeks later remember, oh, I had done this, but I didn't finish it. It has to be structured. You have to teach your students and give them the examples and ask them to produce right away. You have to ask them, you have to use non-linguistic representation of words. You have to use pictures, all right? They remember the picture and they do not remember the Greek translation of the word. It has to be multisensory, and if you can, whenever you can, use multimedia. When we say multisensory, it could be something very simple from a student who cannot understand the difference between, they have the word 3, 1, 2, 3, but many students say 1, 2, free. Now you have to teach them that the f sound is different than the th. How? You can take them to a mirror, okay, and they can see their mouths and yours, that in 3 the tongue comes out. In f it's different. Or if they do not understand the difference between f and v, you have to tell them that v, all right, it's vibrant. You can sense it. Ask them to sense it. If you touch your necks and you do v, you feel the, what do you feel? The vibration, okay, the tremble. But f doesn't have that. Or if they have the letter H, you can ask them to have a mirror and do this, and then they can write on the mirror. Multisensory teaching is so important, okay? It has the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic element, things that stay in their minds. Moreover, this will be achieved through the systematic study of the grapheme-phoneme relations that we mentioned earlier and the spelling patterns and rules. And God, there are too many. Explicit phonological awareness. They start, this is done again orally, and they start from the bigger chunks and they move on to smaller units. They have to be able to hear and discriminate between sounds, to identify them in various positions, all right, whether it be initial, medial, or final, and they have to be able to manipulate them as we showed earlier. And the phonemic awareness activities, since they are based on spoken words, as we said, okay, they are responded to orally, and you're advised to use auditory cues like clapping in order to, for example, if they have to tell the difference between a long and a short sound of a vowel, when they have the word cat, it's cat or cat, okay, it's straightforward, but when they have, for example, cane, it becomes a, they have to do it, okay, cane, make them do this movement, that it's the A, the long one. Or you can use visual cues like boxes, blocks, cards. We will see examples in a few moments. And this brings us to the fifth question: how do I move from this theory to practice? Yes?
So here we're going to suggest some activities over here. So we need to enhance learning and remembering, repeat very often and overlap information and knowledge through movable devices. For example, we can use alphabet letters, or we can write letters on cubes, and we can ask the student to pick up, we can say a sound to the student, and the sound, the student should pick up the right letter, and then from that letter the student can form a word. Obviously you have previously taught all the sounds with your student, and then you can play around with them to form different words, as long as they practice blending and segmenting through this, which is really important. Again, do or dog, dog, and we do, and we do have the images as well that are very important to use them, so that we avoid translating the vocabulary for them. Another exercise, another activity which is really helpful, we can, I'm doing this.
Doing something.
Oh, sorry.
It's
okay,
you.
it's me. Okay, got it. Sorry, the wrong button. Sorry. So here we can have a flashcard with 3 different sounds and their written representations and the image. And we take a piece of paper and we can ask the student, what sound does this make? B. And then B, A, A. And then somewhere here there is a S sound as well, B, A, S. And we pull it all together in order to make bus. And of course we do have the representation here as well.
It doesn't show because
I'm afraid, yes, it doesn't show really well. Another favorite activity, we have split the image in 3 pieces and the 3 sounds, sh, r, k. And slowly, we take the image together in order to form the shark, and then the sounds again as well, we pull the sounds together in order to form shark. It wasn't me now. A great activity, again multisensory activity, is to use a tray and put some sand or salt and ask the student to form the letter and then some words too. Next one, Anna.
we're running out of time.
Next one.
Yes, we're not.
Again, students can practice blending and segmenting with applications you can download from a tablet. Some sounds you have already taught, you can put them on a piece of paper, and then you can add some sounds here, and then students can put them together to make words. For example, at and rat. And then we can use mini boards and we can write some words on them, and it's a great opportunity to practice some sight words as well with irregular spelling. And students can put the words together to form a sentence with a subject, verb and object. Again, a great way to practice some sight words. And then we move on into sentence formation. Well, some activities were on the PowerPoint here. Yes, here. So another exercise here, we can put the words here, we can put them here, and then students can practice writing the words. The lined paper is really useful because students whose handwriting is not very good, they can practice forming the letters and having the same size, which is really important. So moving on to the next one. Well, again, it's another activity to practice subject, verb, object, and we can use 3 different colors yeah. So, yeah. It's,
all right. Here. All right. We also have mnemonic teaching aids. These are unique, sometimes humorous, sometimes surprising, or even nonsensical associations, and they enhance the ability of the learner's ability to remember and retrieve information through these unique ways. Let's see an example. You could have a sentence with a picture or even a demonstration if possible to illustrate its meaning. For example, in order to have students remember the OW sound at the end of some words and the W is not pronounced, you can have something like this. I keep my elbow on a yellow pillow under the window. So they have these words, elbow, yellow, pillow, window, and these 4, if they can remember the picture, or even if you bring a yellow pillow in class, all right, you can show them this and it will remain to their minds. Such activities allow unlimited practice and repetition, and students can reach automaticity in a multisensory and boredom-free and stress-free fashion. The next thing is that we should make learning a less painful experience. We should help them show attainment. For example, we should create a supporting atmosphere, a positive learning environment, give them more time for completing tasks, help in sustaining concentration, use a range of multisensory activities and hands-on tasks. Remember that they have to do things in order to remember them. You should break tasks into small and manageable chunks and move from easier to more difficult, because receptive should precede the productive stage. And through all these, we will enhance our students' confidence. Now, technology.
Yeah, very important.
Anastasia, would you like to?
Okay, so of course we should take advantage of technology. There's a wealth out there we could take advantage of. For example, computers, audiobooks, PowerPoint presentations, the internet, specialized software, interactive whiteboard, and tablets we mentioned earlier.
We don't have much time, so
okay, so hurry up.
Examples.
So, as I mentioned earlier, from the sound, we need to move into the letter. So, this is a great example to show. We have borrowed from English Sounds Fun. So we have in this lesson we are teaching the D sound. So we have the letter, the sound, and an image. And students need to look at the word and to the image, listen, and try and repeat it. So,
Dad. 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 Cold. Cold. Cold.
So through this activity, they have learned 2 words. They know the sound that D makes, how it is written. We have taken advantage of Dad, and we have shown them how to write the capital and the lowercase. And then another activity. So from the sound, we have moved into the letter, how it is written, into the word, and then the next step is put them together in a sentence, teaching them some high-frequency words with irregular spelling. We must take advantage of these too. So let's have another example of how they can practice it. Well, so Anna, can you click on the sound, please? Don't touch it. I won't touch it. Okay. So if they click on the sound,
Dad is cold.
so if they click on the sound, students have to find the sound themselves, click it and listen to it. And then exactly. And then when they go to the word, they can click on the word. They can listen to the word, and they can see the image representation. And then they can move into the sentence, including
Dad is cold.
Is, which is a high-frequency word with irregular spelling. So here it's all put together. Yes, move on. Yes, let's move on.
Okay. Since we're running out of time, we'll do this a bit fast. So, is this all enough, we may ask? We wish we could say yes, but unfortunately this is not the case. First of all, not all techniques.
Not all techniques appeal to all dyslexic learners. Each one is special in their own way.
Moreover, they need to develop their self-assessment correction skills and strategies, and we should model explicitly the variety of strategies to aid this self-reflection and self-correction.
We need to provide multiple opportunities for students to extensively practice these strategies in a stress-free environment.
And we have to give frequent feedback on their progress. It's absolutely necessary that they should learn, they should know if they're doing better or not.
Compare what they have already learned with their own previous achievements. They shouldn't compare themselves, their progress with their peers, rather than with, yes.
And the last thing is that we, if it's possible, we should check how homework is done. This is very important. Your students go home. In what environment do they study? Do they study the suggested way? Do they study at all? Because this might be the case as well. Does the family support what you both do, what your students do and what you do? If you don't have the support of the family, what you do in class is not enough. It's never enough. 3 hours a week are not enough. Students should go home and study the way you ask them to study, the way you have shown them. And if possible, you should show it to the parents as well, so that they can do it. They can help their young learners. Otherwise, things might not be the way you wanted them to be. And you should not be disappointed, because it's not your fault. We're not gods, all right? We cannot perform miracles, but we can try to help. It's what we said at the beginning. We are willing and determined to convey knowledge to all our students, but you need to have receptive students to do this. Which will bring us to the last part, reaching the end of our presentation. What we conclude is that dyslexia may not be something that you will cure your students from, but it's definitely something worth exploring and attempting to understand. And through this knowledge, we aim at finding ways to facilitate the learning process of our students. By raising teachers' awareness, what we are doing here today, and thank you for being here once more, is that we should raise awareness regarding dyslexia and other learning differences by getting informed constantly, getting informed concerning its causes, its characteristics, its social and emotional consequences. We through these intervention strategies, you will teach your students how to spell, how to read, by making learning fun. One of the tools was creativity, all right? And another one was imagination. If you don't have these, you cannot speak, you cannot address the dyslexic learner's brain, which is different than yours. And this way, your students will learn to love the language. They will boost this will surely boost their self-esteem because they will be good at something. They will experience success. And this has proved to help them in their L1 as well. If a child has gets appropriate teaching strategies in the English language, for example, they learn to do better at school as well, because at school they do not teach them these ways. Okay? And before we say goodbye and let you enjoy this wonderful and amazing day and weekend, we'd like you to read this with us. So please don't be ashamed and read it. A teacher, come on guys, let's read it. A teacher educated about dyslexia can be the one person who saves a child and his or her family from years of frustration and anxiety. That teacher can play a pivotal role in changing the whole culture of a school. And please, this is a quote from, by Dr. Kelly Sandman. She uses the word saves, because what you will do will actually save this child from frustration and anxiety.
And anger.
Thank you very much for being here.